9 of the 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence were members of a mysterious brotherhood, one that was behind almost every major event in our nation's history, the Freemasons. The symbols of Freemasonry can be found everywhere, secrets that help topple an empire and build a nation. Their secrets changed the world as we know it. Buildings suddenly became much more than just structures. They were symbols in stone. When the first Freemasons came to the new colonies, they went from building structures to building a nation, one city at a time. Leaders of the growing rebellion, John Hancock and Sam Adams, were in hiding. Out of reach of the British, they were well connected with other revolutionaries because they too were Masons.
Most of the American Revolution, at least in Boston, was either organized at Masonic meetings or in the local taverns in a back room.
Their seeing eye sign can even be found on the dollar bill, along with Mason George Washington. While symbols like the eye or the Mason compass can be seen all over the U.S., the initiation ceremonies for the Brotherhood are held in secret.
As secretive as they are, they're just a process, procedure. It's nothing different than when one is baptized in a church.
But it's a procedure only for the eyes of the Masons, and it actually links them to the ancient Temple of Solomon. Solomon's master builder was a man named Hiram Abiff. He was a master mason, and his 3 apprentices desperately wanted to know the secrets of his craft. They were tired of waiting and plotted to force him to tell his secrets, or else. One day, each demanded the guarded information, and each time Hiram refused, an apprentice hit him over the head. The 3rd blow killed him. Hiram's death is reenacted in today's Mason initiation ceremonies. Only after the new Mason pretends to die, he is resurrected through the power of the Masonic grip. The grip is a secret handshake known by all modern-day Masons. The Masons are believed to not only be linked to the Bible, but also to the Knights Templar. This ancient order of powerful Christian crusaders were persecuted and fled to England and Scotland. Many said they hid underground, becoming stonemasons as a cover for their true identities. Some say the Freemasons still possess the Holy Grail that the Knights Templar took with them to Scotland. Today there are over 4 million Masons in the world, 2 million in the United States alone. And this exclusive fraternity continues to inspire and mystify the world.
Freemasonry, we have 3 degrees. The apprentice, we have the fellowcraft, and we have the master mason degrees. And those were the same thing as far as the construction of the temples. So from those times, we then transposed them to a more modern culture of now, instead of building temples, we build men.
And 230 years ago, George Washington, Ben Franklin, John Hancock, Paul Revere, men built by the Freemasons, were literally pushing the buttons of revolution. There are even theories that link the Masons with landmarks in Washington, D.C. The intersection of 5 major roads form a pentagram or 5-pointed star, with the White House at its southernmost tip. This location also links up with another Freemason emblem, the compass and square, similar to the shape of Fort Mifflin. The U.S. Capitol building sits at the hinge of this compass. Philadelphia was home to one of America's most famous Masons, Grandmaster Ben Franklin. Franklin, like most Masons, was a man of great power and wealth, and he was determined to use his status to make his city a better place. He willed 1,000 pounds to the city of Philadelphia, insisting that part of it be used to build a municipal waterworks. This system of clean water that allowed Philadelphia to grow into the city it is today was not only the brainchild of Master Mason Franklin, it was also designed by one, Freemason Benjamin Latrobe. Believe it or not, Latrobe also worked on the White House and the U.S. Capitol. But it was his Philadelphia waterworks that helped revolutionize the way cities ran, and over 200 years worth of Mason-inspired water tunnels still remain beneath the streets.
There are even some people who argue that the United States, in its creation, in its inception, even in its constitutional order, was a Masonic republic.
Freemasons account for 2 of the 5 committee members who drafted the Declaration of Independence, 40% of the generals during the Revolutionary War, and 30% of those who signed their names on the U.S. Constitution.
Freemasonry and the ideals that went into the American Constitution and the Declaration of Independence have an awful lot of overlap. They had values of religious tolerance and cosmopolitanism and rights and formal equality between all citizens.
One of the Masons at the time was Montesquieu, a famous French political philosopher who had this radical idea of a separation of powers, that you should have three branches of government, a legislative, executive, and judicial, that they should check and balance each other to form a true republican government.
Washington, D.C., 1791. George Washington, now the first president of the United States of America, appoints French architect Pierre-Charles L'Enfant to design the nation's capital. While Washington was a master mason, L'Enfant apparently never passed the level of entered apprentice. However, some believe that symbols associated with Freemasonry were embedded into the city's design as an acknowledgement of the ties between the secret society and the founding of the country.
The basic layout of the city originally had these kind of odd diagonal streets. So they had to have some reason to lay them out that way, because the normal way you would lay out a city is by a grid pattern. And DC did not follow a traditional grid pattern.
It's a very cleverly worked grid shape. So when seen from above, you have a five-sided star. You have a cascading star, which is all part of the Masonic thought. There's no doubt that Washington, D.C. was laid out according to Masonic ideals and symbolism.
In 1793, President George Washington presided over the laying of the cornerstone for the U.S. Capitol building, a ceremony that not only initiated construction, but was also highlighted by elaborate Masonic rituals.